involves acknowledging the harm that has been done and working to repair the damage that has been caused. The Buddha taught that reconciliation is an essential aspect of personal and spiritual growth, and that it allows us to overcome the negative emotions that can lead to suffering. In conclusion, the Four Noble Truths and forgiveness are essential aspects of Buddhist practice. The Four Noble Truths provide an understanding of the nature of human suffering and offer guidance on how to overcome it. Forgiveness is seen as an essential component of personal and spiritual growth, as it allows us to overcome negative emotions and to cultivate positive qualities such as compassion, wisdom, and equanimity. By following the teachings of the Buddha and practicing forgiveness, one can overcome suffering and achieve a state of peace and happiness. Here are some additional details about the Four Noble Truths and forgiveness in Buddhism. The first noble truth, the recognition of suffering, is also known as dukkha. Dukkha is a Pali term that refers to the unsatisfactory nature of life, which is characterized by impermanence, suffering, and uncertainty. The Buddha taught that all beings experience dukkha, regardless of their station in life, and that the only way to overcome it is through spiritual practice. The second noble truth, the understanding that suffering arises from craving and attachment, is also known as samadaya. Samadaya refers to the grasping and clinging that arises from our desire for pleasure and our aversion to pain. The Buddha taught that by letting go of our attachment to pleasure and our aversion to pain, we can overcome the causes of suffering and achieve liberation. The third noble truth, the realization that suffering can be overcome, is also known as nirodha. Nirodha refers to the cessation of suffering that arises from the cultivation of wisdom, ethical conduct, and mental discipline. The Buddha taught that by following the Eightfold Path, we can overcome the causes of suffering and achieve a state of peace and happiness. The fourth noble truth, the path to the cessation of suffering, is also known as magga. Magga refers to the Eightfold Path, which includes right understanding, right intention, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. By following the Eightfold Path, we can cultivate the positive qualities that lead to the cessation of suffering and the attainment of enlightenment. Forgiveness is seen as an essential aspect of personal and spiritual growth in Buddhism. It is based on the principle of non-duality, which holds that all beings are interconnected and interdependent. Forgiveness is seen as a way to overcome the negative emotions that can lead to suffering and to cultivate positive qualities such as compassion, wisdom, and equanimity. One of the key teachings in Buddhism is the concept of emptiness, which refers to the realization that all phenomena are empty of inherent existence. Emptiness is seen as a way to overcome the dualistic thinking that can lead to suffering and to cultivate a sense of interconnectedness and interdependence. Another important aspect of forgiveness in Buddhism is the practice of tonglen, which is the cultivation of compassion. Tonglen involves taking on the suffering of others and giving them our love and compassion. By practicing tonglen, we can overcome our own negative emotions and cultivate positive qualities such as empathy and kindness. Here are some more details about the Four Noble Truths and forgiveness in Buddhism. The first noble truth, the recognition of suffering, is often described as the starting point of the spiritual path. It is the acknowledgement that life is inherently difficult and that all beings are subject to various forms of suffering.